Good morning. We're on lesson 109, which is more on fractional exponents. And this first example is more like review of things that we've already done. I think they do this sometimes to just kind of get you warmed up to what's about to happen. So in this example, we just have to remember that every single thing inside the parentheses has to be raised to this third power. So 2 raised to the third power is 8. And to raise exponents to powers, we multiply the exponents. So here we have to say 1/2 times 3 is 3/2 times y to the 1/4 times 3 is 3/4. Z, remember there's an understood 1 if there's no exponent there, so z to the 1 times 3 is 3. That's all we were doing there because this was one single term being raised to the third power. Now I stress the single term because in the next one we have x to the 1/2 plus y to the 1/2, and that is raised to the second power. How many terms are in that parentheses? There's 2, right? So it's a binomial. We can't just raise each term to the second power. And if it will help you, you might want to rewrite this as x to the 1/2 plus y to the 1/2 times x to the 1/2 plus y to the 1/2. So that you can see we have to use FOIL to square this binomial. So that times that is going to be, remember, when we multiply with exponents, we add the exponents. We don't multiply them. We add the exponents. So 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1. I don't have to write the 1, but I will just so we know where it came from. The outer terms multiplied will be plus x to the 1/2, y to the 1/2. Then the inner terms multiplied will be x to the 1/2, y to the 1/2, plus y to the 1/2 times y to the 1/2. Again, you add the exponent, so that's y to the 1. Well, you probably realized as we were writing this down that these two are like terms. X to the 1/2, y to the 1/2. X to the 1/2, y to the 1/2. So there's an understood 1 in front. So that would be 1 plus 1. So this will be x plus 2x to the 1/2, y to the 1/2, plus y to the 1. So remember, when you have more than one term in a parentheses raised to a power, you can't just raise each thing to that power. Okay. Last one on this lesson. X to the 1/2 plus y, you got to look at this real carefully because that's a negative 1/2 exponent. It's still a binomial because there are 2 terms in here. So we still have to use FOIL to multiply this out. X to the 1/2 plus y to the negative 1/2, x to the 1/2 plus y to the negative 1/2. Okay, so we're going to multiply first. X to the 1/2 times x to the 1/2 is x to the 1/2 plus 1/2, which is x to the 1. Outer is plus x to the 1/2, y to the minus 1/2. Inner is plus x to the 1/2, y to the minus 1/2. And then the last is plus y to the negative 1/2 plus negative 1/2 is what? Minus 1/2 is minus 2/2 or minus 1. So that exponent is a negative 1. So this becomes x plus, these are like terms, x to the 1/2, y to the negative 1/2, and then plus y to the negative 1. And then this is one case that you are allowed